Today's guest, you guys, we got Braeden Miller, one of the top bodybuilding coaches around. The guy's an absolute beast. He went some crazy medical procedures some years back. He owns a bunch of businesses, owner, operator of the gym, food manufacturing company. He's got a couple of supplement world stores. Let's hear his story. Let's get inside his head. Let's fucking figure this shit out.
Absolutely.
All right.
Appreciate you having me on, my man.
What's up, my bro?
We got the studio set up. This place is dope. I'm excited to be here. We're going to have some fun today to kind of dive into everything.
Yeah, bro. It's been a minute. I wanted to talk to you a bit about all this shit. Okay, bro. So let's just kind of jump right into like that juicy part. Like I really want to know so some years back, bro, you had a crazy accident, right?
Yeah.
So it was something to do. So your heart, basically a part of your heart exploded, right?
Essentially, to some degree, yeah. So basically, rewind back to 2016. 2015, 2016, that was when I kind of hung up the skates, as I had previously been a hockey player, and I kind of transitioned over to bodybuilding. I fell in love with training, and I went to a bodybuilding competition with one of my best friends who was competing for the first time. We were training partners at the time, and I was kind of getting out of playing hockey, and I was like, fuck, this is what I'm going to do. Just being that competitive person that needed something, so I went full throttle like I do with everything, dove right in, over the edge, hired the same coach as him. You know, saw some success in 2016. My first year bodybuilding, won a couple shows. 2017 came around, I went to my first national show. My goal was just, nationals is a big show, and back then it was pretty fucking competitive. So it was like, if we can get top 10, I'll be super happy in my first nationals. And I ended up getting, I think it was like 7th place, and I was like pissed. I was like, fuck no, I want to win this shit. But then I also knew at that point, like, okay, I'm very new to this sport. And I'm beating guys that have been doing this for years and years. So if I really dive in and I go full throttle, I can make some changes and I can probably do this full time. So I hired a new coach. I didn't love my coach's approach at the time. Then, that takes us from 2017 leading into 2018. After my show in 2017, I put on the most size I had ever gotten to. Previously, before that, I was probably 230, 235 pounds. Pretty like round face, soft though. And all of a sudden, fast forward to 2017, 2018, and now I'm 250 pounds and I still have a six-pack, right? So just the approach changed, my dedication changed, everything changed when it was like, you can do this. Unfortunately, that year, would have been July of that year, I was getting ready to start a prep to do the Arnold Classic, which is one of the biggest amateur shows in the world. But I was in the middle of my off-season still, and I was training. I was at the gym. My coach at the time had some serious heart issues, but we were good friends, and he would come to the gym with me often. We'd be in person. I was training at a Bullpen gym, Bullpen, on the south side here in the city, kind of an old school hole-in-the-wall bodybuilding gym. And the only other person usually that was in there when we trained was Rena, the mom of the owner of the gym, and she's like, at the time, she was probably 75, 77 years old. So it was literally just her, my coach, and me in the gym. And I was warming up to do some squats, and basically I felt really weird. I almost felt like I was going hypo, like low blood sugar. So I racked it, took a second. Me and Spencer were talking. He's like, let's have some Gatorade. Drink your intra-workout. I'll grab a Gatorade from the front. Drank the Gatorade, drank my intra-workout. We sat around, bullshitted for like 10 minutes. I was like, all right, I feel good. Must have been blood sugars. I was using growth hormone and insulin at the time, so it could have been something along those lines. And then, went back to the bar. I remember it like it was yesterday, just from the video. There was a video of this. I didn't have any memory of it, but had 405 in the bar. It was my last warm-up set. Went to do it again.
405 was your last warm-up set.
I was pretty strong at the time. I can't remember what I would have been doing.
That's what was looking me on my question. I'm like, what the fuck?
I would have been doing 455 or 495, something like that for a workout set of 5 or 6. And put the weights the weights are already on the bar. I step into the squat rack, go to do it, get a couple reps, rack it, go to walk away, and when I walked away, I just fucking collapsed and dropped. And just like fell flat on my knees and just was hunched over. And Spencer obviously panicked, didn't know what to do. He kind of went into shock. Like I said, this guy was walking around. He had an external bag, like a Lululemon pouch he wore, but it had a pump for his heart that went into a tube. And because he had really bad heart issues.
Wow.
So he had an actual external pump to his heart at the time. And he kind of went into shock and didn't know what to do. And then, like I said, the other person in the gym is this 75-plus-year-old woman who also has no clue what to do. So I had went, again, learned all this after the fact, but I went over for like 15 minutes without oxygen. People don't normally survive that. So essentially what had happened to me was my aorta, essentially like the wall of my aorta split into a V. And then there was a blood clot that came with that. They don't know whether the blood clot came first, causing increased pressure, causing the wall to split, or the split caused bleeding, which then caused the blood clot. More than likely, again, I'm not a medical professional, but when you split something, it's going to bleed. And if you have thicker blood, etc., it's probably potentially going to clot. So I think the wall split from the pressure of squatting. And then with that, now, again, I kind of wanted to know at the time, we'll get into how severe this was, but afterwards, in the aftermath, I kind of wanted to know for my parents' sake and stuff, because obviously it took them for a fucking roller coaster ride, whether it was, bodybuilding that did this to me or there was something else. And I was basically told, genetic predisposition, had some family history of heart stuff. And they did say, like, truthfully, you played high-level hockey your whole life. You could have got hit hard enough, and the pressure from that with your weak aorta could have caused it to split. But on the flip side of that, I don't walk around ignorant to the fact that bodybuilding is not the safest sport. Despite the fact I did blood work at the time, I monitored my blood pressure. There's still a lot of things we do that are dangerous, and I do think that there was a contributing factor.
Of course.
Would it have happened, or could it have happened without bodybuilding? For sure. Did it potentially exacerbate it and make it worse that I was using gear and doing these things? For sure, and you'd have to be a fucking idiot to not agree to that, right? But bodybuilding didn't cause it, moral of the story. So rewind a little bit. I had gone, like I said, about 15 minutes without oxygen. Spencer actually had called my wife, my now wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. We were living together, and she worked not too far away. She worked on the West End, so she got in her car. Says she drove like 200 there, which I can only imagine if somebody called me that she was in trouble. And she shows up while I'm getting loaded into the ambulance, and I'm just covered in blood because the paramedics showed up, and the first thing they do is intubate you. So they jam a fucking tube down your throat, and they're trying to keep you alive. They don't care if they cut your fucking throat, your esophagus. They're trying to get that, but they're just fucking going, right? But they also had to use the paddles on me because I was flatlined. So they had to use the paddles. They use them 3 times, and a lot of times after 3 times, they'll pronounce a body dead. And what I was told by them is it's almost like mutilating a dead body after that point if you keep fucking going. So they have to kind of stop. On that day, those paramedics looked at each other and said, "Let's go one more time." And they hit me a 4th time, and the 4th time brought me back. And then they intubated me, and like I said, my wife showed up at that time when they were ruling me out, and she just seen me covered in blood, like obviously out. So she panicked, they take me to the hospital. Long story short, I was in the hospital for 9 weeks, just under 9 weeks, 8.5, whatever that number is. And I was in a coma for like 3.5, 4 days. They put me in a medically induced coma, which again, science is really cool. And I know you're big into it. So am I, with like physiology in the human body. But basically you think of like in movies, they put you in a cryo chamber and freeze you. They essentially did the same thing to me on a smaller scale because I had been, without oxygen for so long. They wanted to make sure the brain swelling and everything stayed as low as possible. So they basically use what they call brain cooling, and they cover my entire body with like hypothermic blankets. And they turn these blankets freezing cold so it decreases all the swelling and inflammation in the body to try to help my body recover. It's funny too, because at the time there's like small details that are kind of funny about this. Because I was such a muscular dude, when you're on life support or in a coma, they have to feed you like through a tube, right? They had to feed me 3 times the bags of food they give a normal person to just keep me alive because your body's
so muscle, the weight, all the muscle got to eat it up.
And if your body starts, if your body starts evaporating muscle mass from such a traumatic state, that's more stress in the body. And the body can only handle so many things at once, right? It's trying to recover, it's trying to keep me alive, but also now you have all this muscle wasting happening. So the reality was, it was like, we just got to feed him. And one of the cool things about all of this, I was actually told by my cardiologists, if I wasn't as big and as strong as I was, I wouldn't have survived it. Which, as much as like we can look at it in the sense of, okay, maybe bodybuilding did this to me.
But it also kept you alive, bro.
But it also potentially kept me alive.
Bro, it's funny because I've heard that story 3 other times where my buddies got shot.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have lived if they did not have the muscle mass.
100%.
Literally, right?
100%.
It's crazy, bro.
So
Wow.
it's like, and I've spoken about it lots and sometimes in like a funny setting, but it's like become hard to kill. You know, and like the more muscle you carry, at some point it becomes detrimental. But also, if you don't have muscle and you don't carry muscle, that's also very detrimental for instances like you talk about, or, you know, somebody just wants to rob you or stick you.
It literally stops bullets. I mean, if you got a chest that's this big, the
100%.
knife was only going to go this far.
Muscle's a lot more dense than body.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly, yeah.
And so for me, that was pretty crazy. And, you know, they had taken my parents and my now wife and basically told them, you know, there was a 90% chance I didn't come out of my coma. And of the 90% chance I didn't come out, there was like a 10% chance I wouldn't be brain dead or brain damaged. So I had to go through it all at that point. It was fucking, I had a catheter in me. My brain didn't fucking work. So even when I came out of my coma, I was all fucked up. Like I didn't remember anything. Even like there's a funny story I've told a few times where, obviously, you know, I'm big into nature and fucking physiology and stuff. And Shark Week, we all love fucking Shark Week. And I couldn't do anything. I couldn't leave my fucking bed, right? So I just had a TV in my hospital room in the, you know, cardiac unit. And my wife's visiting me or whatever, and we're hanging out. Turn on the TV and it's like, Shark Week. Oh, sick. Fuck, I'm going to watch this all day. This is perfect. And there's an episode that comes on with Ronda Rousey. So I asked my wife, I'm like, hey, you want to watch this episode of Shark Week with Ronda Rousey? She's like, going diving with great whites. She's like, yeah, let's watch it. So she crawls in bed with me. You know, we're cuddling, watching this show. Almost towards the end, I fall asleep. So she's like, I'm going to go get some lunch. She leaves. She goes get some lunch. I'm sleeping. I sleep for a few hours. She comes back, and she turns the TV on again, and we start talking, watching some TV. And I'm scrolling through the channels again. I'm like, oh, fuck, look, Shark Week. And I'm like, look, there's an episode with Ronda Rousey. And she's like, in her head, like,
we just watched this shit.
We just had this conversation and we just watched this. And I had no fucking recollection. And I mean, she's an absolute angel. So she just rolled with it, crawled back in bed with me and pretended. She basically acted out the same scene that had already happened a few years earlier or a few hours earlier. And again, I learned all this stuff afterwards. But it was pretty crazy. Like, even the nurses were fucking with me. You know, it was like there would be a whiteboard and they'd write the date on it. And then they'd tell me the date, and then they'd leave the room and come back, you know, 10 minutes later and ask me what day it was. And every time I would just think I was smart and I'd read the whiteboard to them because I couldn't remember what they said 10 minutes earlier. The short-term
memory is gone.
Cooked.
Pretty much, cooked.
And then I'd tell them the date was on there, and they're like,
buddy,
come
like,
on,
fuck.
You got to start trying. And I'm like, fuck, man, I'm trying. Like, and there was like a lot. I had to play this little game with like there was a little ball in this thing that I had to blow air and try to keep the ball floating in an area just for like my cardiac and lung capacity and stuff. It was pretty crazy. Even walking. The first time I walked, I think it was like a week and a half after all this had taken place, and like my legs just didn't fucking work, man. Like they were just like. And I had to like walk with a walker and like buddies holding me and stuff. It was pretty fucking crazy. Just when your brain gets cooked like that, it's like your body forgets everything.
Yeah, I mean, lack of oxygen for that long, bro. Like you're a fucking miracle, right?
For
I
sure.
already knew that. I didn't know the extent of it, right?
Yeah.
But man, like there's something that kept you here.
Yeah.
Like you believe the same thing happened to me, kind of thing. So you can share the story.
Absolutely.
Fucking,
Help people.
You mentor so many people right now, bro. Like so many people look up to you. You know what I mean? The community that you created, bro. I absolutely believe that you're here for a reason. You got a mission.
I agree, man.
And bro, it's just fucking crazy. Yes, please go ahead.
Because like you said, you know, people don't really survive that. When that type of thing. It's essentially a form of a spontaneous aortic dissection, which people don't survive. You know, so I'm very, very blessed, very lucky, and somebody was looking out for me, like you said, and there was a higher purpose. So with that, you know, it was being the person I am. It's like I was coaching at the time. I had clients. Obviously, you know, there's a shitstorm of things that happen. I can't really work right then, but as soon as my kind of brain was functioning enough, you know, I'm in the hospital working on my laptop, banging check-ins and all this kind of stuff. And for me, it was just like, you know, you chat with the doctor. So I ended up having to get you know this, but they don't know this yet. I had to get a defibrillator put in. And that process, I actually flatlined a second time. While they're doing the testing for this, you know, they do a bunch of stuff. So they do stress tests. They put you on a treadmill and have you get your heart rate up a little bit, see what's happening. And, you know, I felt super fucked up. So they take you off. And then basically what they did, they shipped me off to the U of A because I was at the Royal Alec. Shipped me off to the U of A and I get more testing done. And they essentially had me in a room, and basically this was the trippiest thing I've ever encountered to this day in my life. I'm laying on a table, a massive table, and I'm conscious. And they couldn't really sedate me. They had tried many times for other tests, but because my heart rate was so low and the damage that was done, that there is a chance
Too
it will
risky.
come back. You
Yeah.
know? So like even they'd put the cameras down my throat, and I would have to be awake for the whole thing, and I'm gagging and puking, and they're trying to until eventually they excite me enough that they can then settle me down with something to get it in. But anyways, I'm at the U of A. They lay me on this table, and beside me is a giant X-ray screen. Like imagine a massive TV. And I'm looking at my whole body essentially on an X-ray. And they basically went in through my leg and they put a metal rod up through my artery.
Yeah.
And I could feel it literally crawling through my body like a snake. And like as it goes up, I'm watching the rod on this fucking screen.
Cool.
And then you can feel it crawling through your whole body essentially till they get to your heart. Essentially. And then what they start doing is they use this rod to control your heart rhythm. So there's a cardiologist that's with me that specializes in, I believe, like the signaling of the heart, the electrical signaling. And then there's a bunch of nurses and stuff in a back room, and he's yelling at them and signaling them to start turning up my heart rate. So they turn a knob, and all
They
of a
got
sudden,
the electric pulse through
yes.
the rod, clearly.
And then all of a
That's
sudden
what-
I can start feeling my heartbeat faster. And I'm not doing anything. They're just controlling
Yeah.
my heart with a fucking dial.
with a knob.
So then he tells them again, a little bit more, a little bit more. And eventually it gets to a point where I get suddenly warm. And you know when you're passing out, you get that like warm feeling and you feel like you're fading. And then all of a sudden, all I remember is bang. He had to hit me with paddles again because I flatlined. And then he looked at me and he was like, "You need a defibrillator, kid."
Yeah.
They basically had got my heart rate up to a certain point that
Where it just
because
shuts
where my
down.
body was damaged
take this-
and my
yeah.
heart was damaged,
Yeah.
it couldn't handle that heart rate. So it stopped and he had to shock me. And then that's what they did at that point. I got given multiple options, and me having been in the hospital at this point for, I think it was 7.5 weeks, I just wanted to get the fuck out, and get back to my life. So there's a little defibrillator that most people have, a little square on their chest.
Yeah.
Small, tiny little thing, and I'm like, fucking do it, let's get it done. It's a, day surgery. I'm basically in and out that same day, and I can pretty much go home tomorrow.
Was it an open heart, or is it just over
No,
the
not
ribs,
open heart.
just under the skin?
Yeah, just under the skin,
muscle?
under the pec. Yeah. Okay. Now, my parents, I thank them for this because they were like, "Hey, I know you want to get out of here as fast as fucking possible. It's a very easy surgery. You can be out of here in a day or two, but let's dig in and find out if there's other options. Let's look at all the options." So we sat down with a different cardiologist back at the Royal Alec, and he presented me all the options and said the pros and cons. And the one that I was talking about, the little one, the little square in your heart. Problem with that one is, I was 25 years old at the time, 26 years old at the time. The problem with that one is I'm very young at that age, right, to have heart problems. That has to stay with me for the rest of my life. But that one specifically, the leads that go from the device to your heart actually connect to your heart. So each lead is touching your heart. Now, you have to get those devices replaced roughly every 5 years. When the lead is attached to your heart, they can't take the lead off. So every 5 years, I'd be getting a new device, and they'd have to put a new lead on. 30 years down the road, I got a bunch of leads attached to my heart that are just doing nothing. And because it actually is connected to my heart, there is a little bit of damage that gets done every time it has to zap my heart, right? So then the other option, one of them was called an SCID, subcutaneous introverted defibrillator, or whatever it is. And that one's a way more aggressive surgery. They actually slice you under your lat versus a tiny little microscopic surgery. They slice through your lat. They take this thing, you've seen it. I can show you a picture. I can even send you a picture if you guys want to put it on the screen.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
Looks like a little fucking wallet from Boston Scientific. And they insert that in there, and then they take a wire cord, basically, that plugs into it, which runs from here under your lat, under your pec, up to the middle of your sternum, and then sits here, and they anchor it here. So it doesn't touch your heart. What it does is it actually sends the shock across your heart from device to
the lead.
And then the lead, if it doesn't catch the first time, will send the shock back to the device. And the nice thing about that one is when it gets replaced, there's nothing touching my heart. So the lead stays in, but they just unplug it, put a new device in, take the old device out, stitch me back up, good to go. The problem that I saw with that, again, was the fact that it's a very invasive surgery. I wanted to get the fuck out of the hospital. But I'm very grateful my parents made me kind of take a step back and look into that, because now, it's a part of me. That's what I went with, was the bigger one. I don't feel it anymore. For the first, couple months, it felt like I was just walking around with a fucking book under my arm all the time, because your arm is used to sitting on your side.
Yeah.
Now it's sitting out here, and I will say that surgery was fucking painful. I had like 27 staples in me. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing for me that fucked me up a little bit was the fact that I was essentially told I could never work out again. And you know me, and I know you, I'm the type of person that if you tell me I can't do something,
fuck you, I'm doing it.
Fuck you, I'm doing it.
Resilience in you, bro, the ability to bounce back from that will pull the plug on anybody's fucking hopes and dreams, bro.
And the thing is, like, what's my life at this point? And you're telling me I'm somebody who's educated on health and fitness and all these things, and you're telling me that I just can't lead a healthy life. I understand bodybuilding is fucking extreme, but you're telling me I can't really work out. I can go for walks and do light jogs and things for the rest of my life. Get fucked, right? Yeah. So my kind of day one mentality was, let's figure out how to get back. And it was, I want to say 8 weeks after the surgery, I was back in the gym for my first session. And it's one of those things where you're very cautious because you don't feel right. Your heart rate starts to get up. You haven't worked out. You start tripping out a little bit. You're super, super fucking almost scared, right? And I don't give a fuck how tough you are. When you go through an event like that and all of a sudden you feel your fucking heart rate racing, it's like, holy fuck.
What is the number that has got to stay under, the heart rate?
So my device is set to shock me at 200 beats per minute. 200,
okay. So that's pretty high up there. That's
but the thing is, with my heart, what happens is I go into ventricular tachycardia, which is a heart rhythm that can't support life. So my heart rate will be at 140, and then something will happen with the signaling, and all of a sudden, in a split second, it'll go from 140 to 250.
Oh, shit.
And that's when I pass out, device shocks me, right? So it hasn't happened a ton. It has happened more than I would like it to, but it happens way less to me than it happens to most people that have defibrillators, which, again, I'm young, I've taken care of myself, and I've had to realize, and this is, we'll get into this with the transition I made this year, but I've had to realize that, like, if I train like a bodybuilder and I am a bodybuilder and I'm lifting the fucking 10 plates aside on a power squat,
I've fucking seen
the pressure, all those things, it's like, that's putting me in a place where I'm setting myself up for that defibrillator to go off. Now, if I remove those variables, I probably won't have a defibrillator that goes off because my heart is good enough that it just, can go on a day-to-day basis. But I also can't just stop training. And that's the thing I know. I'd be a fucking psychopath if I did. We do it for many reasons, So I had to navigate a bunch of different things, and I'm kind of bouncing around here, but I was put on a bunch of medications. I was put on blood thinners, warfarin to dissolve the blood clot. I was put on bisoprolol, perindopril, ACE inhibitors, all these fucking beta blockers, all this stuff. And, I left the hospital, and I'm taking these meds because I'm told, you have to take these to recover.
For how long?
So that's
50 fucking years.
That's what I'm getting to, and I basically I get to this point where, I'm removed from the hospital for quite a while at this time. I'm trying to get back to training and I'm trying to get back to normal life, but I feel like the fucking shell of a human. I felt like a fucking 14-year-old prepubescent girl. No sex drive. My fucking dick didn't work. There was just nothing. I would stand up off a chair like this, and I'd have to fucking center myself because my blood pressure and heart rate were so low. I'm like, how the fuck do I live the rest of my life like this? So I went for a checkup. I can't remember whether it was a month or 2 months after all of this. And I'm at the clinic, and I'm speaking with one of my cardiologists, and I say, how long do I have to be on these meds for? Because I feel like shit. And he's like, how old are you? And I was like, 26. He's like, 74 years. And he walks out of the room. And my mom was with me. I wasn't allowed to drive at the time, so my mom's with me. Fuck, you treat somebody like that when their mom's present?
Yeah.
Buddy, you're going to get the fangs. And I was pissed, but she was fucking pissed. So at that point, I decided, it's up to me to really make sure I'm healthy. And I understand that they kept me alive. Western medicine kept me alive through these type of things. And now all their goal is to prolong my life as long as possible, not to give me a quality of life. Yeah. It's up to me to give myself a quality of life. So luckily, I had the education I do. I dove in heavily to research on specific supplements that will help, left ventricle hypertrophy, all this kind of stuff, Arjuna extract. And I went off the fucking rails. I was hammering 50, 60, 70 pills a day. But I stopped all my medications, all of them. And I kept going for my checkups, monthly checkups. And every month, you're getting better. You're getting better. You're getting better. I didn't tell my cardiologist that I stopped taking my medicine. Mm-hmm. You're getting better. You're getting better. You're getting better. By month 9, they're like, this is fucking awesome. You're in a great position. Things have improved tenfold. We're really happy with things. So I went to my cardiologist. This is a different cardiologist now because I had requested for a different one after that fucking goofball. Mm-hmm. And I got a really good one. And I basically, what I did, I brought in all my vitamins and my pills to my appointment. Massive fucking bag. I put them on his counter. He comes in. We start talking about it, and I show him, and I tell him, I haven't taken any of my meds in the last 9 months. And you guys told me I had to take these prescriptions to get better, but here's what I've taken. Now, he looks at them and he's like, I don't know what these are. Rightfully so. He's a fucking cardiologist specialized in heart. He knows prescriptions that are dedicated to the heart. He's an expert in that field. I didn't expect him to know. But I'm like, look at the anecdote though, my man. I've gotten better consistently and I haven't had to take these. And basically he said, I can't advise that. My job is to keep you alive. But I also can't force you to take pills every day. I'm not going to remove your prescriptions. And then eventually, you know, they did. I told him and he took the prescriptions away from me. And then with the knowledge I have and the protective mechanisms that I put in place for the people I coach, I actually asked for some different prescriptions that I know would help me. Anyways, fast forward, you know, I kind of go through that. And at the time, I wasn't actually coaching competitive bodybuilders. I was only coaching lifestyle athletes because my first experience with my first coach when I won those first couple shows in 2016 and that first nationals in 2017, to be honest, was a horrible experience. My coach was competing at the same national show that I was. His level of care for me was non-existent. Obviously, he's trying to win a pro card himself as a super heavyweight. You have me doing the same show. I basically had to take over that prep on myself to actually get in shape. So I had made a vow after that I would never coach bodybuilders as long as I was competing because my goal was to be a pro bodybuilder and it's a selfish fucking sport. If I want to win at the highest level, I can't be putting you in the same show and care about you more than me.
It's a Braeden show all the way.
100%. So I vowed I wouldn't coach bodybuilders. Well, then this happened and it's like, I can still pursue my biggest passion. I just can't do it. Now I can coach bodybuilders. So that would have been 2018. Like I said, put my first bodybuilder on stage that year, ended up seeing success. He was a natural guy, won a show. And then the next year I won my first pro card. And that's kind of where it snowballed for me. And I was, I had become a personal trainer at Good Life through all this time. I had a degree that I went to business school for. I was a purchaser. And I did that, for a short period of time, 6 months. And I was like, fuck this. I can't sit in an office and do shit I hate the rest of my life. So my buddy was a fitness manager at Good Life. And I was just like, fuck it, I quit. I'm going to go be this and figure out what I can do from there. And then that's when my online coaching business kind of snowballed. And then, like I said, it really took off 2019 after I'd won a pro card, started coaching more bodybuilders. And then, basically if you fast forward to like 2021, 2022, I had built up a very strong bodybuilding roster to the point that I was kind of able to walk away from coaching anybody else. I had built up a little bit of respect and name for myself that now the people that were trying to hire me were all wanting to compete or they were competitors already. So I basically moved away from coaching bodybuilders and, formed a team of, and I believe it was 2021, of coaches that worked with me and worked under me that I could mentor and work with. And they would have the capacity to take on lifestyle clients and stuff. And it was fucking awesome. I mean, Ty and Dill, right? Ty was Ty was part of the first group of coaches. I had a group of, I think it was 4 people or 3 people that I hired on at once as coaches under me. I took, resumes, was looking at who I wanted to work with. And Ty, as an incredible bodybuilder, we had taken him from somebody that was just, a young kid that just cranked fucking D-balls and ate like shit. And he was huge, but he had, a lot of body fat and he hadn't seen success. He had really shitty coaches, but like so much potential. And then, Ty and I linked up. Things were a little more well thought out. Ty had seen me go through the whole heart incident and, followed me through that journey. And he knew I was a little more health focused and stuff. So we linked up, I coached him, we changed his physique drastically and got him to a really good spot. And he was, to this date, like one of the most attentive people I've ever worked with that just executed did what was needed, asked good questions, wanted to learn, and through this journey, he had started coaching some people on the side, like 4 or 5 people, whatever, here and there. And then it was just like he was in the same boat. He was finishing up a finance degree, and he was going to go out and work in the world of finance, be a finance manager, whatever, somewhere. Dealing with accounts at banks, that kind of stuff. And it was one of those things. It was just like, hey man, do you want to make this your life? Do you want to coach? And he was like, I'd love nothing more. So we brought him and a couple other coaches on. Again, he's lasted the entirety of that time. A lot of other coaches recycled in and out. A lot of people just say they want things and they can't work. Working for yourself is not the easiest thing in the world to do when you need the dedication to sit at your computer for 10 hours a day when you could just go do whatever the fuck you want. And that's what I realized. So that's kind of, and then Dylan came in the picture too. We actually met, Dylan and I, on a podcast through a mutual friend who had me on his podcast to speak about my heart, similar situation. And then, Dylan had been doing some episodes with him, and I went on the podcast to speak, and I got invited back after. Do you want to hop into like a coach's corner with me and Dylan? And Dylan and I just hit it off. And Dylan and the friend that we kind of got introduced by was in the US, but Dylan was in Saskatchewan, and we were both Canadian, and we hadn't like heard of each other. So it was really cool to meet. And then suddenly Dylan's kind of like, well, fuck, man, like, and
fucking run it.
Let's link up or whatever. So him and I started chatting more and more. And then he actually left his coach, which is one of my buddies, Justin Mahaley, and ended up hiring me. So then I started coaching Dylan. And then through that, again, Dylan has a lot of knowledge, very smart dude, a lot of passion, a lot of care. So it was like, let's get you on the team. And he was actually working for a different team at the time. He had left that team. And as soon as I knew he left that team, it was like, I want you on my team. Mm-hmm. So we brought him onto the team. And, that was pivotal for me in growing my coaching team, which formerly was, as you know, Team Miller Elite. Lots of success there. It was awesome. And I give a lot of credit to Ty and Dill, because you almost get complacent when you have a business that's doing very good for a long period of time. And I did. I kind of just got comfortable. The growth had slowed. I had some back end people we were paying as like employees and stuff. And, there was a lot of different pieces of it that just needed to change. And, Ty and Dill kind of forced my hand into that. So I'm very grateful for them. And it was like, hey, it's time for a change. And on the flip side of that, they were at a point where we had been doing this together for so long. It didn't make sense that they were working, quote unquote, under me. Yeah. It made a lot more sense that, we were working together on a common goal. So we dissolved that coaching company and started a new coaching company with Trademark Physiques. And that's been quite the journey in itself. So, through that, obviously, we have the gym that we opened. You're rocking the Den T right now. And
bro, it's crazy because I've seen you create this community, man. Mm-hmm. Like you develop the businesses that feed off of each other. You got the sauce, the food manufacturing company. You got the supplement world stores. You got the gym. And buddy, everything is, it's amazing. Sure. That's a great setup,
we all
bro.
have talents, and like we actually, I had some good conversations with the boys recently on this, and like we all have skill sets. And it's funny because for me growing up, even like through university and stuff, I was a very big introvert. Like very introverted, which is funny to say because you see me on social media now, we have these conversations and I don't come across as an introvert. Mm-hmm. But I remember vividly, like I'd go to networking events because I was in fucking business with my now wife, and she's always the one that's talking to everybody in the room. She'll get on stage, talk, and I'm the exact opposite. We'd go to these networking events, I'd sit there, have my fucking dinner, and my whole table would empty, people would go mingle, and I'm sitting there by myself. Or I'm ordering 2 more fucking plates.
I can't see you like this, bro. I can't picture it.
And that's who I was, And realistically, like over time, just trying to grow my coaching business and communicating with people on a day-to-day basis, it made me step out of my comfort zone, get on social media, put my face on social media, talk more. Yeah. And I realized, one of my skills is bringing people together, and being a leader in that sense and building a community. And that's one of the things we were able to do. And Dylan's very good at that. We all have different skill sets that we bring. Ty's incredible on the finance side, so he handles a lot of that for us. So it just made sense. And, we went through a lot of tough times opening that gym, man. You know some of the story with that, the
Bro,
Arkansas story. But
yeah, it's amazing, bro. It truly is amazing. Like I met you just getting on social media, and we kind of were the same spot. I was getting on social media to start talking, and you're like, "Oh man, fuck, it's a little bit tough to get, same. I was going through the same shit." Now your content is amazing, bro. It's very so fucking knowledgeable. You have mentored so many people look up to you, bro. It's truly is amazing. Your staff. All your staff, bro, everybody's got a spark to them. You know what I mean, man? It's just a great place. You can literally go to your gym. That no matter where you are in life, with what kind of stage of bodybuilding you are, and like no matter what you're going through, to bro, honestly, there's always somebody for you to listen. You can literally go and like pour your heart out to someone. And there's gonna be someone there to listen, bro.
100%.
And it's like everybody supports each other, no matter what, no matter where you are, bro. It's fucking amazing community, man. It's a great gym, bro.
I love
nothing,
it, man.
nothing like it.
I love to hear that, and that's essentially the goal. That's what we wanted. We're not a massive gym. We definitely have a lot of unique pieces, and we pride ourselves on that. With our with our bodybuilding background, we were able to hand select everything we have in the gym. So that was one thing that we could originally separate ourselves. Because the cool thing about that gym, we pre-sold 100 gym memberships as soon as we launched, before anybody had even seen the gym or knew what we had.
Wow, bro, that's
nobody
impressive.
knew, but it was because not of a community we had built, because of the hand selected equipment. And then as the doors actually opened up and people got to come in, that's where the community building really started, right? But like I said, I mean, really, really cool journey there. I had basically started during COVID. I outfitted my garage into a full-blown gym. I had, a lot of the equipment we have in the gym floor right now was in my fucking gym.
Some of it is still
in my
there.
garage.
Yeah.
And I just kept buying commercial pieces, ordering from this company, ordering from that company. And then it was like, holy fuck, I'm out of room. And I got a storage unit. I kept doing more. And, I was chatting with the back-end guys that were running the back end of my coaching business at the time. And it was like, we should open a gym. And then through that, I'd built a really good relationship with Ty and Dale. I got to know who they were, their work ethics, all that, and I wanted to do it with them. And that was like, hey boys, I want to open a gym. Do you guys want to be a part of this thing? And there was no hesitation. It was like, absolutely,
done.
Let's do it. So we did it. A lot of fun. I'll kind of go on a side tangent here with the Arkansas story. So we had roughly, paid about, at this point, 150,000 US to a company out of the US, and they were holding the pieces for us. They were supposed to powder coat them, take them apart, powder coat them, paint them our gym colors, warehouse them until we were ready for the equipment and send it up. And there was actually a lot of references that we personally knew from the bodybuilding world that had bought from this guy. Rough House Fitness was, Rough House Refurbished was the company name. And they had great experiences. So we're like, fucking awesome. He seemed like the nicest guy. All of a sudden we're getting closer and closer to the gym opening, and some weird shit's going on. We can't get a hold of this guy. I'm asking for pictures of the equipment. We're not getting it. He's not replying. Me and Ty are sitting at a show one day, or at a posing seminar, and Ty's looking through comments on his page and sees that some of his photos, a bunch of the comments have like a bunch of people trying to get a hold of him, asking him questions, and we're like, holy fuck. Long story short, this piece of shit, like, kind of just basically what had happened, we believe happened, he filed for bankruptcy, and he was kind of taking Peter's money to pay Paul, taking Paul's money to pay George, and all these, it just snowballed so fast that he had warehouses full of fucking gym equipment, but no money, and was selling the same pieces to multiple people. And then finally it was just like, I'm gonna blow this fucking guy up. So we start lighting this guy up. We can't get a hold of him, We go like crazy ex-girlfriend. We find his mom, his grandma, his cousins on Facebook, Instagram. We're messaging all of them. Finally, I get a call from his wife. And his wife basically calls me and said he's been going through some mental health problems. He's, very sick right now, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, hey, I'm a human. I have a heart. I understand it. I just need to know that you have my equipment or I can get my money. One of the two. I don't care. And she's like, oh, we have the equipment. I'll get him to get a hold of you, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, a couple days goes by, doesn't get a hold of me. Finally, I get a hold of her again, and she's with him. And she puts him on the phone. And he's giving me all these excuses. And I was like, listen, brother, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to book a one-way flight to fucking Arkansas, and we're going to sort this out. And he was like, yeah, go ahead. Come down here. We'll take care of you. So I was like, bet. I called my fucking wife. I'm like, book 3 flights right now. Me, Ty, and Dale are going to Arkansas. The next fucking flight, one way, because we're not coming home without our shit, and I don't know how long this is going to take. I call Ty and Dale. Boys, we're going to Arkansas. When are we leaving? Ty has to drive up from Calgary Dylan is in Saskatchewan, but Dylan was here, I believe, but his passport was in Saskatchewan. So he had to hire one of his employees from his supplement world that he owned in Saskatchewan to drive the passport up. Dylan had to meet him halfway, come back, and we left at like 4 a.m. the next morning. So we fucking just get on this fucking plane, head to Arkansas, middle of buttfuck nowhere, Little Rock, Arkansas. And crazy story, dude. We show up there. Imagine a fucking Walmart or a Costco. That is just a hoarder's episode of gym equipment. You can't even walk in this fucking joint. Shit piled to the ceiling, shit fucking all around. And like you find a piece you want, you can't even take it out because there's 1,000 pieces in the way. And now you see what had happened. Well, we get there, long story short, we go to one of two warehouses. Actually, we had planned to work overnight. There's a lot of other pieces that I'll leave out here just so it'll be a 5-hour story. But we had planned to show up in Arkansas, get our equipment, leave as fast as possible, work all night loading these trucks if need be, whatever we had to do. We get there, buddy's like, I can't get into the warehouses tonight. We're like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, my lawyer has the key. Red flag right fucking there. Your lawyer has the key to your warehouse where you're storing our equipment that we've paid for. Are you fucking bankrupt? What's going on? Listen, boys, I'll pick you up first thing in the morning. What time do you want me here at? We're like, 6 a.m. He's like, I'll give you guys my vehicle if you want. So we're like, okay, we don't need the vehicle,
but just he has to hold it.
Some collateral. We didn't end up taking it. We're like, I'll trust this fucking guy. We're here. So, we chat. It's fucking late as fuck. We end up sleeping like an hour. 6 a.m., 5 a.m. rolls around. He's there picking us up, takes us to one of these warehouses. We get there. He rolls up. Oh, fuck. And you can see the doors cracked a little bit and dented. Somebody broke in and robbed me. So sure enough, he pops open the garage door, and the pieces that we had bought were all supposed to be powder coated in red. We had only received 3 pictures of 3 of like 50 pieces we had bought at this time. Well, when he opens the garage door, there's no equipment there. There's some pieces on the left that are like silver pieces, beautiful pieces that are just left sitting there. But everything in front of the door is just empty. And then you can see a little further back, those 3 pieces we had pictures of sitting there. And I'm like, oh, there's some of our stuff. He's like, dude, all of your stuff is gone. It was right here. And I'm like, you're telling me last night somebody broke into this and stole just our equipment? Like, what about this other fucking beautiful shit right beside the door? They didn't take that. They just took our red shit from back there. This doesn't make any fucking sense. And he had called the cops to show up. This guy's a fucking piece of shit. He had called the cops to show up. So the cop's there. And I'm just like to this fucking cop, I'm like, there ain't no fucking way. My stuff got stolen last night because we flew in super late. He said his lawyer had the key. This beautiful equipment's still fucking here. Why wouldn't that get taken? It's the closest thing to the door. Why would they go all the way to the back to grab my shit? And then why would they leave the 3 pieces that were evidence that he had because he had sent us pictures of those? He just didn't have the fucking equipment, or he sold it to somebody else.
Okay. Yeah.
So then he's like, listen, boys, I'll make you square. I got a way bigger warehouse with way more equipment in it. You can take your fucking pick. I'm like, all right, let's find out. So we go over to this other warehouse, and he wasn't kidding. This was a fucking Walmart with shit piled. This is that place. And we just went through and basically put fucking sticky notes on the shit we had paid for, the stuff we wanted to replace things that were gone, etc. And we basically worked for fucking 3 days straight with 2 hours of sleep a night. First day we had to make paths to just get equipment out. Then we had labeled all of our stuff. Then we had to line it all up. We had to get a fucking Zoom boom. We had to order trucks. And it was fucking chaos, bro. And meanwhile, we're still running a coaching company. We still have clients doing check-ins and shit. It was fucked, man. And then it ends up even crazier. So we basically, get all these trucks loaded up. There was another 2 dudes that had hit me up on Instagram that were like, hey, you seem like level-headed dudes. Because we were in a group where a bunch of people were fucking looting this guy's other shop and shit. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, first of all, if I'm just going to go take shit out of one of these fucking warehouses, I'm definitely not posting videos on Instagram. You guys are fucking idiots. This guy calls me out on Instagram and messages me and then calls me on the phone. And he's like, you guys seem level-headed. You're just keeping to yourself. What's going on? Are you guys going down? I was like, listen, when we know what's going on, we'll keep you posted. So we didn't tell them we were going down until we were there. We got situated. We knew we were going to get our equipment. And then we just let them know. It was Blake and Mark were their names. Really good dudes. They were open a gym in Maryland, and they were out like $250 US. And their money was a loan. Ours was cash. Yeah. Theirs was a loan. So if that money's gone, they're fucked. And we called him. We're like, we're here. He does have equipment. get on a flight fucking ASAP. Don't say a word. Get down here. So they did that. They booked trucks. They basically helped us load all our equipment. Okay. We would have some pieces. That's how we figured it out. He had sold them some of the same pieces he sold us, but he had one of them. So now it's like, okay, well, you guys can take that piece, but you have this piece we want. So we're going to take that piece. And we had to kind of compromise on some pieces. So we load all these trucks up, and our trucks leave, and our trucks go. We're fucking thumbs up, ready to rock. Now we got to help them load their trucks. So we load their trucks till fucking 2 a.m. And buddy, this trip was a fucking dream. It was a nightmare. Sorry, it was fucking. Some of the shit I have here, bro, is just like I can't even believe this shit happened. And my wife's freaking the fuck out because I'm not calling her, texting her, nothing. And like I had told her, like I don't know if I'll come home. Like if my equipment's gone and the money's gone, like I don't know if you're ever gonna see me again. To be honest with you, and she's freaking the fuck out because she also knows the type of person I am. I can be a hothead, and you know.
Yeah.
So
She's
I'm fucking
end up doing time.
We're fucking murder, freaking
bro.
out. She's trying to get a hold of me, and I'm not. I don't have my phone on me. I'm just we're working, we're hustling, you know. And so we get these other guys' truck loaded up 2 a.m. and it's like, holy fuck, we leave tomorrow. We got to book flights now. So we got our wives to book us flights. Ty was leaving at like 5 a.m. Me and Dill were leaving at like 11 or something like that. And so where it's like, well, fuck, we should go eat something. And then, you know, we'll drop you at the airport, Ty, and we'll get we'll get to the airport, you know, we'll get a hotel, we'll sleep for 3-4 hours, and then we'll go to the airport. So that was the game plan. Well, little did we know, in Little Rock, fucking Arkansas, there's a festival this week called the Toad Licking Festival. So we drove, I'm not fucking with you, bro. We drove to all these different restaurants to try to get food. Half of them are closed, and if they're not closed, they're fucking packed. Yeah. And like there's a Waffle House we go to that's loaded with like fucking 80 black people, and we're just white as fuck. I'm not gonna roll into that joint at fucking 2:30 in the morning in the middle of Arkansas. Like I'll get fucking shot or something. No way I'm doing this. So
is
we're
it
trying
like just hood black guys?
Oh, buddy.
Or just hood,
just hood as fuck. It was wild.
Not like black farmer.
No, dude, they're just hanging out at a Waffle House. There's like 60 of them. I'm like, this is not a good idea.
Yeah.
So we keep trying to look for some food. Finally, we just get some fucking McDonald's. We pull on the side of the road. We eat this fucking McDonald's. There's hilarious pictures of us just laying on the fucking road after sleeping 4 hours and 3 fucking days, moving thousands of pounds of gym equipment. So then we got to drop Ty at the airport. We drop Ty at the airport. Ty smells like fucking shit. He hasn't had a shower. He's covered in dirt. He just gets straight on a plane. And to this day, he tells the story so funny, but the chick he was sitting beside, as soon as he sat down, just went like this. The entire flight, because he just fucking reeked like BO. Hadn't showered in 4 days. We were just fucking hustling, and he's literally got dirt all over him.
Yeah.
He goes to he had a layover, I believe, in Atlanta or something, goes to one of those fucking kiosks that has like fucking cologne, just douses himself, but he smelled so shitty that like now you just smell extra shitty because you're covered in cologne and BO. So that was a fucking nightmare. Dylan and I get a hotel, and then this is where it gets crazy, bro. Even crazier.
Crazier. What the? Okay.
Dude, so we get a fucking hotel, and this night is like a fucking movie. This guy, the 80-year-old at the fucking hotel desk, is taking 40 minutes to get us checked in. I'm fucking losing it at this point. He's only letting one person in the lobby. It's like, buddy, we just want to sleep for 2 fucking hours. Give us a room, man. Finally, we go to bed. We wake up. We go to the airport. We're at the airport. We get on our first flight from Arkansas to Atlanta. We're on our first flight. We get off the flight. We're in Atlanta. We just land. And there's 4 of us, me, Dylan, Mark, and Blake, the guys that we had met there. Yeah. We're going from Atlanta to Edmonton. They're going from Atlanta to Maryland. And me, Dylan, and Blake get off. We're sitting near the front of the plane. Mark's at the very back. We wait for Mark. When Mark gets off, he looks like a fucking ghost, like white. And he had just had, I believe, his auntie or his grandmother or something pass away a couple days before they came down. So we're thinking like, fuck, somebody else passed away now or something. When something's fucking wrong, you can see it in someone. And he's walking off the plane, something's fucking wrong. So we go up like, what's going on? He's like, dude, I just got a call. Our trucks still haven't left. He stopped them and said that we were stealing all the equipment. Oh. So their trucks, our trucks were gone. Yeah. But their 2 trucks, after we left, we went to get our McDonald's and try to find some food. He came out of the gym. He helped us fucking load the trucks the whole time. Yeah. Him and his dad came out. They stopped the truck driver and said, "You can't take this, or I'm calling the cops. This is theft. All this equipment is being stolen." So we're fucking losing. And at this point, like, we're not right in the head at this point at all.
Yeah.
We start fucking, and Dylan and I are like spiraling, bro. And I'm like, if my fucking equipment doesn't end up in Edmonton, I'm having a murder charge in Arkansas for sure. And we start like fucking, it was scary, bro. Like, I'm like, okay, how do we get back to Arkansas with, you know, no trace of us getting there? We got to go buy a car cash. We're driving back to Arkansas. We're going to kill this fucking guy. There's no fucking way I'm letting my life be ruined. All my money I had go out the fucking window for this fucking idiot. Long story short, we get our brains about us and we start kind of game planning. And Blake and Mark had dealt with a logistics company. And basically, finally, we got a hold of the owner of the company. And the owner of the company was like, once that truck is fucking loaded, they can't stop it. The truck has a destination it has to go to. Whether it's stolen goods or not, the truck has to go. It's up to them to file police reports in the receiving city or wherever to get those stolen goods brought back. The truck fucking goes, though. So the truck finally ended up leaving. We're all chill. We get on our respective flights, but then we're tripping because our truck, theirs just goes across state lines to Maryland. Ours has to come across the federal fucking border into Canada. And if he reports that whole truck stolen, when it gets to the border, we might be cooked. So just a nightmare. We're anxious as fuck the next couple of days waiting for our equipment to show up. Luckily, everything shows up. Well, then another nightmare starts. We start posting our equipment when we're installing it. All these motherfuckers that were following this catastrophe online from all over the US, it went fucking viral. It was a huge story. Start messaging us, that's my piece of equipment. I paid for that. That's mine. And we're like, well, so did we. And guess what, motherfucker? We went down to get it. You sat in your fucking ass and let your shit get taken. We went down to get our stuff because we were not willing to lose it. You were clearly willing to lose it. If you would have showed up before me, so too bad, so sad, you know? So it was just, we had to fucking block a bunch of profiles and shit because they were like, we're gonna come get it. We're like, fuck, come try.
Yeah.
Go ahead, come try to take it out of my gym. See what happens, you know?
Yeah.
So it was just chaotic in itself. That whole story was a fucking nightmare, but you know, you learn a lot through those times. And when you're doing it with your boys, I look back on it now, and that was some of the funnest 3 days I've ever had, bro.
Bro, yeah.
But it was the most hectic, chaotic, stressful fucking few days I ever had either.
Well, fuck, man. I mean, you guys are, really kind of puts things in perspective.
Well, and that's the premise behind the gym, you know? There's like, when we say there's blood, sweat, and tears put into that place.
It is.
We were a few weeks away from opening, and we almost lost everything. And now we're already signed into a lease. We can't buy new equipment. What the fuck are we going to do if we have no... And that was like all of our equipment minus what I had in a little garage and a storage unit. We would have been cooked. But it ended up working out, and then like you said, from there it was just build a community and let it grow, man. And yeah, we're not the biggest gym, but I would argue, and you can probably support this, you know, we do have one of the best communities from a gym standpoint.
Best community, bro, is just the equipment, like you were just saying, bro. Like everything, as soon as I came here, everything's packed so close together. It's nice. You really got to watch your head for headbangers, you know what I mean? But like everything is just hit so much harder, bro. Like if I want to go chit chat and have a little bullshit workout, I'll go to Good Life. If I want to fucking get serious, I'll go to your gym. You know what I mean? 100%. And I just bang it out, bro. And it's like they don't have any, like it doesn't compare. You know what I mean? The range of motion, just the way everything just being adjustable, it's crazy, bro. Like nothing hits as hard as your guys' shit. It just so much more thought and engineering went into every piece of that equipment, right? So what's going on with these fucking things, man? I've been seeing them. Everybody's rocking them. What's going on? Does it just make you sharp and smart?
Did you see the video I posted?
No. Am I going to get a headache over this or something?
I don't know. Are you a pussy?
Well, you know that I'm not. Clearly. So what do I do with this?
Just put it in your lip.
On there? Uh-huh. Am I going to talk funny? Mm-mm. Okay, I'm going to...
I've had one in the whole fucking time. I'm taking my other one out right now.
I'm going to get super focused.
Absolutely.
That's what it does. Hey, tell me what it does. What does it do, bro?
So Nicotine's a nootropic. And actually, I posted a video the other day. It's really cool. I've posted on this topic before, but it's actually very, very neuroprotective. So it's basically a defense mechanism for Alzheimer's, all that kind of stuff.
Yes, I heard
dementia,
that.
Early onset dementia. You know, it prevents it because of it's a stimulant, but it's a nootropic.
Yeah.
You know, so nicotine in itself is inherently addictive. But when you look at the negatives of nicotine, essentially that is the negative, that it's addictive. But if you're addicted to something that's really not doing a bunch of other negative things, is that really a bad thing? Now, where you run into problems, you know, darts, smokes, fucking chewing tobacco, which that's where I came from. I came from that world. I was a hockey player. I started chewing tobacco at 14 years old, and I went 4 years where I chewed a can a day for 4 years straight, bro. And then I switched off that, and I quit cold turkey, but then I started vaping. And then vaping got out of fucking control where I'm ripping through 2 full pods a day or a full vape every day, fucking 8,000 puffs a day, you know, just like crazy, man. And at that point, it's like, this can't be fucking good for you. And so for me to get off vaping, I started using pouches. But the thing about these pouches is they're basically just nicotine salts. So you're basically getting pure nicotine with not a lot of the fucking lung shit, bullshit. And the video I posted the other day was talking about how it's neuroprotective, but there was a really cool thing that during COVID, they were using obviously all these fucking vaccines and everything, injecting us with fucking poison.
Fucking bullshit, yeah, motherfuckers.
And quite frankly, when they were doing these studies, they found that there was tumors being caused by some of these things that they were putting in the vaccines when they were testing them.
Of course, yeah.
Well, what was really fucking cool was they basically also were supposed to try to figure out how to reverse the tumors. One of the first things they tried was nicotine. And within 3 days, tumors were gone.
Holy shit.
Crazy. So like there's a lot of actual evidence supporting nicotine for focus. Like you said, one of the reasons I use it is I actually have high functioning ADHD, and I refuse to take fucking ADHD meds.
Bullshit
and they
pills,
make me feel, they truthfully do. Some of them make me feel like I'm fucking methed out.
Yeah.
You know, and there's different types of ADHD. Is why it's like a spectrum, and some people do good with some meds. Whereas for me, and I've realized that's why I'm hyper addictive to it. That's why I've been addicted to nicotine my whole life, because it levels me out. It levels me out and keeps me chilling. And it keeps me focused and lets me do what I need to do. So I've kind of made the decision, like, I have to, because if I had stopped taking it, and I tried to stop taking it, and it was like I couldn't focus. And it's not necessarily like I was nicking out and I was just craving the nicotine. It was like I couldn't function on a day-to-day basis. And then I try, ADHD meds, helps a little bit, but then I feel super shitty and you become dependent. And now it's like nicotine controls my ADHD. I don't give a fuck if I'm addicted. I'm addicted as fuck, and I'm going to use it forever.
Yeah.
And if I don't get dementia, even better.
Yeah, it does help, bro. Yeah.
So I'm a huge proponent of it. Am I going to sit here and say it's the healthiest thing in the world? No, there's side effects to everything, right? There's small elevations to heart rate. There's small elevations to blood pressure. But if this is the worst thing I'm doing on a day-to-day basis and it lets me fucking function at a high level, I'm chilling. And on the flip side, there are a lot of benefits, like we talked about,
I can feel it a little bit.
Oh, you're going to get a buzz from it.
You'll get a buzz from it,
bro. You'll be chilling.
Bro. Yeah,
if it gets too heavy, take it out, though, because your room might start fucking spinning on you.
Fuck up the podcast.
Yeah.
I remember in the pen, because these guys do crazy shit with pouches. Not the pouches, but patches.
Yeah.
Right? So
they smoke patches.
Yeah, the smoke
bro,
patches. So
either
they would cut them up. They would use dry tea, tea, mix it all together. The tea would absorb the nicotine, and they would smoke. It's called the tobacco.
They're basically
smoke the tea in the Bible paper just to get a nick hit out of it, bro. It was the craziest shit I've ever seen in my
100%.
life. Tobacco, bro. Like, it was something else, but crazy, bro.
Don't they use fucking coffee grinds for a bunch of shit too?
No, I don't know about
Okay,
no
I thought they were using coffee grinds in the same way.
We would just the instant coffee shit. That's what we had, and everybody just bounced coffee all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the only kind of thing you got in there, really. Wow, brother, absolutely crazy story, man. Crazy, man. That's just next level shit, bro. Okay, bro. So let's talk about a little bit, like, what was your upbringing like, bro? What kind of mindset did you grow up in? Your parents, or who was the biggest influence? Because you're an entrepreneur, bro. Like, you started so much shit. I bet too ADHD played some part in it, because you started all these businesses, tied it all together, bro.
And truthfully, I didn't grow up in any kind of weird setting or anything like that. For me growing up, I grew up in actually a very supportive household. I had parents who invested a lot of money in my hockey. I played hockey at a high level my whole life. I got a mom who, my dad's working shift work. My mom drives me to Brooks to a fucking junior A camp, which is, Brooks is 7 hours away, 6 hours away, through a whiteout snowstorm, just so I can make this team. And, very supportive family, very grateful.
Invested a lot into you. Now it's paying off, bro.
And, my dad, and again, I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. He's such a hard worker. He worked shift work. He worked at Imperial Oil, the refinery here.
I did some work there too. Yeah.
So he was, shift work. Christmases had to be missed because he'd have to be on shift and this and that. But he's always been the guy. And it's not the best lesson, but I respect the hell of it, especially as I got older and had money, that I don't really care to have a bunch of money in the bank because I'm going to spend my fucking money and I can make more money.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was, you know, it was great, man. I didn't grow up in a family that had nice ass vehicles, big ass houses, but I was one of the kids whose parents did take me to Disneyland. You know, they did take me to Disney World, those kind of things. We'd always go camping. We'd go on a lot of trips. So really, really good upbringing, to be honest with you. Very supportive family. But none of my family really was entrepreneurs, honestly. And it was just something that, you know.
Up to us to fucking change that
yeah,
cycle.
And I mean,
Hard workers,
you
bro.
know a little bit of my background, too.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't the best kid, to be honest. Like, I was getting in shit all the time. And I gave my parents a living hell, truthfully, you know.
Fuck,
like,
so did I, bro.
17 years old, you know, got some assault charges, like things like that. I wasn't a perfect kid at all. Sneaking out when I was younger and like stealing their vehicles. Like that's just the type of kid I was. Always causing shit. Yeah. You know, but I still also was not a bad kid in the sense of, you know, I got decent grades in school and I actually cared about my life a little bit. And yeah, so for me, I think like, and obviously, you know, the fighting side of me, I fought my whole life too, always getting in fights, kicked out of school for fucking this, that, whatever. And that side, I think I get from my uncle a little bit. My dad's been in one fight in his life, but his brother was a fucking brawler, hockey fighter, all that kind of stuff. And I got that from him. And the entrepreneurial side, man, I think it was just, truthfully, I think it was just born out of pure passion.
Yeah.
You know, pure passion. I loved what I got to do so much. I had been in a setting where, like you said, I worked at a mine. I was a purchaser, a junior purchaser. I had my supply chain management business degree. Life was good, but you're going to work every day fucking miserable. We're dealing with stupid spreadsheets and not anything you care about. And then I flipped that switch and I went to a job that was barely paying me fuck all, a trainer at Good Life.
Yeah.
In fucking,
to start, bro.
2017.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like, I actually enjoy this though. I'm making fuck all for money, but I can show up every day. And then that became something I didn't enjoy because it's like, you know, I'm training around a bunch of people that...
You overqualified at that point.
They suck.
They
you know, they're going to
suck,
break their back. And so then that's when the online thing became delight for me. And it was all just a progression of, I wanted more. I wanted to succeed. Money has always driven me. Be truthful. It always has, drives us all. You know, at the end of the day, they say money doesn't buy happiness. Fuck that. Yes, it does, because you can't.
You can't be happy if you can't eat properly.
For sure. And there is a threshold, right? There's some studies that actually show this. You get to a certain point where it's diminishing returns. When you have a certain point of money, there's no longer money will make you happy. But up until that point, money will make you happy because money buys you the freedom you need.
Exactly.
And it gives you the opportunity to do those things. And that has always been a driver for me. That's also fucked up my life in some degrees. You know, I almost lost my wife because of that, because you become so focused around money this, money that, money this, money that. And then, you know,
spend less time at home. You really,
and it's all work. And
exactly. You get cut off. Bro, I can relate to that. Definitely.
So it's one of those things that like, you got to have that balance. But for a large part of my life, I didn't know what the fuck balance was. And that's where, again, I'm grateful for my business partners, Ty and Dill, because I got into a zone, you know, like I said, I almost ruined my whole fucking relationship. I've been with my chick since I was in grade fucking 12, bro.
I admire this family situation that you have right now. You married your high school sweetheart, bro.
I did,
you have a beautiful baby.
Very
boy.
lucky.
She's great, man. She's amazing.
Bro, I'll tell you what, you know, like, you know, there's a lot of things that we've chatted about where it's like very similar in some instances, you know, and I have also put my wife through hell through, you know, our younger years till now, and like not abusive or anything like that, obviously, but I was just not the easiest guy to be with. You know, I was doing my fucking thing. Yeah. And then it turned into, you know, not home much because I'm working, trying to create us a life. But she always stood with me, even through the hardest of times where she should have fucking been out the door.
She stuck it out,
She stuck it out, and I'm very grateful for her. And then obviously, you know, very blessed this last year to bring our son into the world. So it's just like, I don't know, man, go back to your question. I don't have this super transformational, inspirational, entrepreneurial story. It was like I let my passion guide my decision making.
I would say that you fucking do, bro. I mean, shit.
For sure. Maybe it to some degree, and if it inspires some people. But my advice on that end is just roll with your passion, because that'll always, if you're passionate about something, as long as you can keep that spark alive, you're going to keep finding ways to evolve it, right? And that's what I did. And again, very grateful for some of the things. The reason I got introduced to Supplement World was because of Dylan. He owned one at the time. You know, and then he was moving down here for the gym. Let's open one here. We opened one together. Then, you know, I opened my second one. He kind of left the first one. So it was just like, there's people that help along the way and people that inspire it, but when all you guys share the same passion, and that's why, even I go back to the Flavor Gang thing. Fuck, we're bouncing all over the place.
Yo, that's good. No,
the Flavor Gang was born out of a necessity because I was spending so much money as a bodybuilder when I was competing that you couldn't find cream of rice or hot rice cereal fucking anywhere.
You only had to buy the Mama, the anti-Jamina.
And they didn't even barely, you could barely find that anywhere in the stores.
Yeah.
So me and a good buddy of mine are fucking ordering it off of Amazon by the fucking case, and it's costing us an arm and a leg. And I'm like, this is fucking whack.
Yeah.
Why don't we just make it? So we did.
It sounds pretty easy,
this
but
is funny, bro.
Yeah.
You're gonna like this one. This is like Hustle 101.
Yeah, Flavor Gang, by the way, is like the oatmeal, the hot cereal oatmeal, and there's a bunch of sauces as well, right?
Yeah, so if you think of like cream of wheat,
it's
the same thing as cream of wheat, but it's actually made with rice, so it's
cream of rice, which is a little bit healthier,
it's
less
more digestible, less inflammatory on the gut, really good for pre-post workout, and it doesn't taste like shit. We got flavors, like lots of good flavors. So basically, rewind. We're like, okay, maybe we can make this. All right, let's go to fucking Costco. We grab some Vitamixes from Costco. We grab some fucking bags of rice, and it's like, let's just grind this up and see what happens. So we start cooking through these Vitamixes, and it's like, fuck, this isn't too bad. It's kind of shitty, honestly, but like nobody can get this stuff, so maybe it'll work. Yeah,
before I used to with my coach, Reza, Mr. Canada, that guy, he used to just tell me I would put a bunch of rice in a blender, blend it up, and drink it with water, bro. This. When I told you that, you were like, fuck this, I made this.
You gotta cook it, bro. Otherwise, it's
no, I can't remember. You're like, he eats uncooked rice all day.
Nuts,
like,
bro.
that's what
Imagine
I had
just
to
grabbing
do.
a bowl of uncooked rice and
That's
fucking
what I
chopping
had
it
to do, bro. That's what I was told to do because it was nothing
For
like
sure.
that, bro. That
For
makes
sure.
sense, right? Yeah.
So basically, we start making this product for ourselves, and it's kind of shitty, but like it solves the problem and it's saving us some money. We're like, maybe people would fucking buy this if we can find a way to make it better. So we're like, fuck it, let's send it. We order a bunch of bags, gold foil bags from Uline. We get custom stickers made. We start a company called Golden Grain Foods. I have a roster of clients that I work with, so I just let them know, hey, there's a new cream of rice available, Golden Grain Foods. And I didn't tell anybody that I owned the company. We weren't the face of the company at the time. So even like Ty, for a long time, had no idea that I owned the company. They thought I was a sponsored athlete. They had no clue. Ty was buying it, but we started flavoring it with cocoa, and then we added some Splenda and sweetener. Then we got our own custom flavor of pancakes and syrups, and it just started to grow. And we got to a point that, a very cool thing happened, and in just the world of business, through the people that ran the back end of my coaching business, they were actually running the back end of a massive company in the US called Flavor Gang. Now, my business partner and I had started to evolve into, okay, let's start making some sauces. So we were dealing with some food scientists in Leduc to try to get some low-calorie sauces and basically taking a page out of their playbook, the Flavor Gang guys. I get a call, and it's like, hey, we were looking for somebody to run our operation in Canada. And basically, it's like, hey, guys, you have kind of a smaller scale operation. We have a big one. Do you want to partner? You will dissolve your company. You guys own Flavor Gang Canada and basically launch it in Canada. And we're like, well, we have the means because we had evolved, obviously, from fucking Vitamixes where we're burning them out every 3 days and returning them to Costco, getting a new Vitamix, spending, 4 or 5 hours a night after we've done all of our fucking work, grinding rice, bagging rice, sealing rice, sending orders out. It was fucking
hard
hectic,
work,
bro, for a
That's
year and a half.
Yeah,
it was
amazing,
nuts.
bro.
And that's the thing, right? Like, I go back to my wife. She had to deal with that. I'd work 10 hours, 12 hours on my fucking computer doing my check-ins, and then I got to work out, and then I got to go grind rice from 12 till 3 a.m. or 12 to 4 a.m., and then I come home, sleep, and do it all again.
And this is the fucking blueprint of success, motherfuckers, man. This is how you fucking do it.
And you get to a point where, like, you shouldn't be doing that forever, but, like, you kind of have to. So it ended up working out for us, and there's things that were amazing and there's things that were challenging with the conversion over to a new company. We had built a very good, strong name in Canada with Golden Grain Foods. Flavor Gang had a great name in the US, but it wasn't as prevalent in Canada, but it started to pick up steam, and then it just so worked out. Everything almost got vertically integrated for me because, I owned this company. My clients loved the products. They'd support the products. And I could, if they wanted to use it, I could put it in their plans. And then vice versa. The same thing happened with Supplement World, I got a lot of clients using a lot of supplements. Well, for me, when I own a store, I can give you guys discounts, get you your supplements at a cheaper rate.
Perfect.
It also benefits my store, but that in itself has been also a challenge. You know, running a retail business is very different than anything I'd ever done.
It's tough,
you know,
bro. It's a big overhead, right? You got to do
big
a lot
overhead,
of sales. You gotta
different
rely on
margins.
Margins are not that great, right? You
For
gotta
sure.
do-
And then also,
yeah.
you know, when you're spread so thin running these other businesses, it becomes very difficult. And that's something I've struggled with until you really build the team and get the right people in the right places. And I'm
Exactly.
very blessed, you know, for my my partner in Supplement World now, Landon, who, you know, he started with the company when they were first born at the very first store. And he's a fucking incredibly knowledgeable dude that, you know, from a supplement game, that's his passion and was his passion. And he came back in after being out of the mix for 5 years and helped me revamp and revitalize the store. And at that point, it was like, dude, this store, this doesn't happen without you, because I can't be the face of the company. I run it, but I can't be in the store hustling all day,
Yeah,
you know?
well, 2 stores.
I sit at my
There's
desk
not enough
in
time.
the gym,
Not enough
banging
time.
my check-ins
Yeah.
and stuff, and that's what pays my bills, you know? I've always believed this. My businesses usually, up to this point, haven't really paid me much. The money goes back into the business. I mean, you've seen it with the gym. We reinvest in equipment, you know, all
Constantly
that kind of
buying
stuff.
new shit, constantly improving.
And
You
at
guys
some point, you
constant,
do that
bro.
enough,
It's-
a business will start paying you.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly, yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like 2 years deep in the supplement world, and truthfully, the business hasn't really paid me anything. But we're at a spot now where the store's gained a lot of traction. It's grown so much that it's finally in a great spot and on its way to being in a great spot. And you know, for anyone that's trying to grow a business, it's not sunshine and fucking rainbows, as you know. You know, it's a grind, man. And you know, I look back at it now and I'm like, fuck, man. Was it the smartest thing to have, you know, 5 businesses running at once? It's difficult, bro. It's really hard.
It's an experience, and also going to
unless
build you up to the point where you're going to be able to do bigger,
Yeah, and do
better
you want to,
shit.
you know, do you want to
eventually.
be a jack of all trades, or do you want to be a master of none, or do you want to be a master of one? And there's different approaches, and I don't have any regrets with what I've done. I do feel like, you know, if I had one business and I poured everything into just that business, potentially that thing would have grown a lot faster. And, you know, if I was just Supplement World and I could have been there all day, every day, but I don't regret anything, man, because truthfully, it's what's made me who I am. It's gotten me out in the community more. It's got me on social media more. And it just allows me to touch and impact more people, man.
Yeah, honestly, man, it helps the community as well, bro. Where they can go when you got these fucking great sales, bro. I literally go to your fucking
100%.
store once a month. I spend not once a month, maybe once every couple of months. I'll spend $1,000 and I'll save 200, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a good amount of money that people save because you got these fucking sales and you give discounts to your clients, bro.
And we separate ourselves too, right? Because like one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is we actually have educated staff.
Super
fucking
educated.
A lot
staff.
of these,
They're
a lot of
yes.
these stores, the
They
truth
have no
is,
idea what the fuck they're talking about. I'll
And-
go ask them a question. They're like, well, maybe this and that, bro. Everybody in your store knows what the fuck they're talking
Here's a
about.
perfect
They've done it, bro, and they can recommend it.
100%.
And exactly, buddy tells me about the certain pre-workout. This one does this. This one's more focused. This one's this. I take it, and that's exactly what I get out of it, bro.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
And that's the difference, right? Because some of these stores, I don't need to start name dropping, but you guys know what we're talking about. You know, you walk in, you're like, I'm looking for something for recovery. Oh, I got the perfect BCAA for you. BCAAs are fucking expensive water. Stay the fuck away from them. I have BCAAs on my shelf at my store, a very limited amount, because some people will come in and strictly want BCAAs.
Want that because that's
so
what
I'm going
they
to
know.
hold
That's
it
all they
for
know.
them.
Yeah.
However, if you walk in and you ask for a product, I'm going to show you an EAA. Now, the difference is I get less margins selling you an EAA versus a BCAA, but the EAA is better for you and your goals. Now, these other stores, they're going to sell you the product with the highest fucking margins. So when you ask for a recovery product, they're going to hit you with the BCAA because they're making more money.
Of course.
And at the end of the day, sure, that works. But the second they go to my store and they get educated that we make less money off this product, but it's going to benefit you more, they're never going back to that other fucking store because we were honest with them.
That's
you know?
yeah.
And honesty is always the best policy
that
in
kind of
business.
integrity will fucking take you a long way, bro.
100%. Integrity
I
is
called you
everything.
the other day. I called you. I'm like, buddy, I'm off the fucking sauce.
Yep.
I need a test booster. You're like, buddy, don't fucking waste your time.
100%.
I'm going to your store to buy this. You're like, buddy, don't fucking do it. Just do this, and that.
100%.
Right?
And
So,
that's like there's
and I
certain
appreciate
things that
bro, yeah.
you know, and again, is there literature that supports some of those things helping some people? 100%. But I know your history. I know what you've done. I know what you've used. I'm not going to tell you to go spend fucking $60, $70 at my store when I know it's not going to benefit you. Because then what's going to happen? You're going to come back to me and be like, bro, this thing did fucking nothing. And I'm going to be like, sorry, bro. Thanks for your money.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
it's like, and that's not how I roll. At the end of the day, it's not.
You go far beyond, like far above and beyond for your clients, bro. You're like a next level of coaching, bro. I've noticed that.
Appreciate
I had a pleasure, bro, of training with you, bro, and
Yeah.
that's the most progress I've ever fucking made. I lifted things that I never thought I could. Reza, my bro, old school Reza, of course, he's done a lot of progress with him.
Absolutely.
I've had other trainers since him, maybe besides you, and fucking it was kind of fuck all, really, bro. We did not make any
Appreciate
progress.
that, brother.
With you, bro, like the intensity, the way you pushed me through. I mean, there's been fucking times where I was just about to throw up. There's things would fucking pop in the back of my head. I'd be sick for fucking a day after. But I put on the weight and I kept it, bro. And we actually did it properly. And like it was amazing, bro.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Appreciate that, man. I the biggest thing, it goes back to passion again.
Yeah,
right? I love what I
yeah.
do, man. I've invested a crazy amount of money in my education because I do believe, and I know you're like this, you're big in learning. I just always want to keep learning because when you stop learning, somebody gets ahead of you.
Of course.
At the end of the day, you know, and it's still something, I still run mentorships. I have I have a great circle of people in the US that are big name coaches and great at what they do. And I got a really cool group of people now that like, if there's a problem that I actually don't know how to solve, one of them does, and I'm going to fucking learn and they're going to teach me. And vice versa. If somebody doesn't know how to solve a problem, they can come to me and I'm going to help them solve a problem with their fucking clients and they're going to learn. And that's the really cool thing about developing relationships over time. I don't need to be good at every single thing. I know that I'm not. And it goes back to what we talked about business partners. I'm not the best at everything. There's a lot of things that Dylan is fucking incredible at that I'm not good at. I'm not a salesman. I never have been. Fuck, you should have heard my sales calls when people were on calls with me trying to buy coaching. I would literally say to them, I don't care if you hire me or not.
Yeah.
If you're serious, you're going to fucking hire me because I'll turn you into a freak. But if you're not, then don't fucking hire me. That was my sales tactic.
Yeah. That's perfect.
Whereas then, you know, you have other people who know what they're doing and they make way more fucking money because they actually know how to sell. And you know, whether it's people that you like, Dill has experience in car sales and these type of things. And you don't want to be a snake oil salesman, but if you know sales tactics, you're going to make more money. That's not me. Unfortunately, it's not me. So I don't ever fucking handle those things. That's not Ty either. Ty doesn't handle those things. Ty has a fucking degree and a background in economics and finance. Who's the best guy to hire, hold, and take care of our fucking finances? Him. Let him do that.
Yeah.
Who can build a hell of a community? You know, who's a strong leader? Me.
Yeah.
Let me do those things. You know, who's heavy on the education side? Well, you know, we all are. We're all very educated. But again, I'm one of the ones who's put the most into that because I started before all these things. And Dill has too, you know? So it's like we all have our strengths. We complement each other. And that's how a successful business runs itself.
Love it, bro. Absolutely. Let's do a little bit of just, you know, maybe a quick advice, maybe some literature, some of the books you've read that you can recommend to some people.
Holy fuck. We're going
Yo,
down
that's
now.
okay. Maybe that's going to be too much. Maybe like one or two that like really changed your life.
Well, so here's the thing. I'm not a guy that reads.
I know, me neither, bro. It's been a couple
But I will say this. I was given a book very recently, and this one's going to come to mind very recently by Landon, who's my partner in Supplement World, and he's very big into Buddhism and that kind of thing, and he's very big into meditation, yoga. Like this guy, he went through a year of his life or a couple years where he literally quit everything and he meditated for like 12 hours a day. And he like had a fucking beard down to here, but he learned
Full
a lot
monk
about
mode.
himself.
Full
Yeah, he
monk
did.
mode,
And he
bro.
would
Shut
read
everything
10
down.
books a
Yeah.
day, like crazy. And he gave me a book called The Creative Act.
Okay.
And it's by Rick Rubin, I believe is his name, who's he's a musical fucking god.
You know that one, eh? Yeah.
And it's an incredible book. It basically talks about how to move through life, you know, in kind of a different mindset and vision, which for me, I still haven't finished it because I don't read a ton, but I have actually gotten into a really good place where it's becoming part of my routine. And there's so many fucking lessons in it. There's another one he gave me that I read a few pages of called Stillness Speaks by Eckhart Tolle. Again, incredible books. These aren't necessarily things on physiology literature because that's what I read. I went through a period,
Yes,
you know.
you're very like physical. I want you to be metaphysical more,
I
right?
know.
And that's what I'm hearing. I'm glad to hear that, bro.
Is.
You're actually progressing with that part of it.
I went through a phase where, you know, when I was in that hustle mode and stuff, and my wife can attest to this, I couldn't sit still and watch a fucking TV show. I would have to, and it drove her nuts because it was like, let's sit down and have an hour of a show together at night. Fucking 20 minutes in, I had my laptop out, I'm working. You know, and that was my problem. When I'm reading a fucking book, like a fictional book or something that's not actually leveling up my business or helping me learn more about physiology, I can't fucking focus. Like I go crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
So for me, and that's also my ADHD. If I don't have complete silence, I ain't fucking. There's not a single thing that's going in one ear out the other. Yeah, literally, bro.
Yeah.
So if I need to read, I need complete silence.
Yeah.
But I will say, you know, my background comes from reading a lot of literature and stuff, like you said. You know, physiology books, those type of things, and I have a lot of those, which are great. Lyle McDonald is a great resource if you're trying to learn stuff about burning body fat, you know, female hormones, very good information there. But now that I am diving into some of the other stuff, you know, the spiritual stuff, and I'm a very big man of faith. I know we're different a little bit in that regard, but, you know, I believe in God, I'm Christian, and I was baptized Catholic, but there are a lot of things, you know, that even speaking with Landon about Buddhism, because he's a very big believer in Buddhism and some of the lessons there, you know, I think there's overlap in a lot of this stuff, and just understanding your consciousness and understanding, you know, who you are and how to be still sometimes with yourself, controlling your thoughts, controlling your mind. If you can get to that point, and I'm not there, I don't meditate like a lot and stuff, but I've seen what he's been able to do. And when you can control your thoughts like that and actually take thoughts and do things with them rather than just have them fucking flying by, you know, it changes things. And it's pretty cool. So I give him all the credit for influencing me in that regard. You know, he gifted me these books as a nice gesture. And as soon as I picked it up at first, I couldn't put it down because it was just so fascinating. And Rick Rubin is a very fascinating man if you look into him. So
nice, bro. Fuck, that's awesome, bro. Yeah, man, we can fucking wrap it up, man.
Yeah,
That was
I'm
good, man.
good.
Like,
There's lots more we can always do this again.
We can fucking do a second episode because there's a lot I haven't really asked, bro. You were asking the questions before I could even ask.
I can talk all fucking
bro,
day.
I know. I had a question and you would fucking pick it up and you give me the answer without me asking. So that was perfect. Yeah, man, we should probably do a fucking second episode here, like next month or something.
Let me know when. We'll have you on ours as well. Absolutely appreciate you having me, my man. That was hell of a time. Thank you guys.
Okay, right on.